Greetings, colleagues. Today's session, session 5, will be focusing on the SASS dashboards, and I will be talking through the workflows to firstly visualize a single site SASS dashboard and thereafter a multi-site dashboard. So before jumping onto the map, I did want to point out that on our landing page, you can at a glance see all of the invertebrate data as well as the other modules, but specifically you can see how many SASS assessments there are, and these are color-coded based on the ecological categories, which I'll be expanding on in a while. So let's then move into our map, where we will firstly run a single site search. I know the site I'm interested in. It's this one in the Yonkazuk Valley. I'm going to add that into my search filter and click apply. This then returns the single site as a yellow dot, and I can view that site either by clicking on Site Overview or opening up the Site tab. Okay, so you'll see here both the invertebrate dashboard is visible as well as the SASS dashboard. If I wanted to see all aquatic invertebrate data in the same way that we looked at fish data last week, I would hit this dashboard here, which would give me occurrence records over time, regardless of whether it was SASS data or species or genus level data. But for the purposes of today's session, I'm going to be going to the SASS dashboard because there's a lot of extra functionality that we've added to this for visualizing SASS data specifically. Just to remind us all, what is SASS? SASS is the South African scoring system. It's a river monitoring tool that uses aquatic macroinvertebrates to provide an indication of the river health or ecological condition of a site on a river. It's a well-established tool used in river ecostatus monitoring as well as river health assessments. So what I'll do now is I will go down on the left-hand side of the SASS dashboard, explaining what each of the different aspects are, then the right-hand side. Okay, so first up is a map of our showing the location of our site in the context of the river. Next up is an overview dashboard, which provides a lot of the context information, which is very similar to that on other site dashboards. And essentially, there's a code, the original site code, the river, the lat longs, and then information on river and geomorphological zone, catchments, management areas, and ecoregion and province. Next up is a summary of all of the data for the site, and you can see the total number of SASS records for the site is 60, with the earliest record in 93 and the latest record in 2022. The next section provides a summary of all of the data for those 60 SASS assessments, providing some sort of average, minimum, and maximum statistic for SASS score, number of taxa, and average score per taxon, which, as you know, is SASS score divided by the number of taxa, gives you the ASBT. This data can be downloaded as a CSV. Whenever you see this green download as CSV button, you can download underlying data for further analysis in your Excel file. Moving further down, we provide a breakdown of the latest assessment at the site per biotope. And in the case of this, we've got all of the SASS taxa listed as they would be in the order on the SASS sheet, with the sensitivity weighting, and then the abundance recorded in stones biotope, the vegetation biotope, and the gravel, sand, and mud biotope, and then for the site on its own. And then the scores for each of these are auto-calculated and provided as well. Again, you can download this data as a CSV. Next up is a record of all of the SASS records for the site, all 60 of them, starting chronologically with the earliest, moving all the way to the latest. And in each case, the SASS score is given, the number of taxa, and the average score per taxon. It is possible to drill down to the original site assessment, and I will do that after describing the next aspects of the SASS dashboard. So moving down at the bottom of, just again, this can be downloaded as a CSV. And very importantly, at the bottom of this dashboard is all of the metadata associated with the data. In this case, you can see a large Rivers database data, which ended in 2015 roughly, a lot of data from Cape Nature, and then various scientific articles and papers, as well as some unpublished data from the REMP, as well as data collected during SASS accreditation. Okay, then moving up on the right-hand side at the top, we provide a lot of photographs if the user has uploaded photographs. I always encourage people to upload photographs because it's an incredibly valuable visual resource. And these records, these photographs are time-stamped either by year, if it was water temperature data, or by the actual specific sampling period in the case of SASS data. And all of these, you can tab through and see all the photographs for the specific site. Okay, then next up is a series of 3 SASS charts, which are color-coded by ecological category. So before going into the ecological category, or these charts in particular, I want to just take us to the ecological categories. As you know, we developed a way to interpret SASS data whereby the ASPT was interpreted in relation to the SASS score. And these are various ecological categories coded or color-coded, whereby A is natural, B is good, C is fair, D is poor, and E is seriously or critically modified. This is derived from the work of Dallas 2007. And the colors presented in this ecological category are carried through to the graphs that I showed you previously. So in this case, the SASS charts are provided as SASS scores over time, color-coded based on their ecological category from the earliest record to the most recent record. And you can see from this at a glance that a lot of the data was in a natural category with good, with just a few fairs popping up here and there. And this is done for SASS score, number of taxa, and average score per taxon. Next interesting part of the SASS dashboard is we've produced a pie chart to show the proportion of sensitive to tolerant taxa. And if you move over onto that, you'll see what this means. So these proportions are based on the sensitivity weightings, where highly tolerant, the red, is anything with a SASS sensitivity weighting of 1 to 3. Tolerant is 4 to 7. Sensitive is 8 to 11, and highly sensitive are 12 to 15. And this is based on the latest record for that site, in this case, the 28th of August, 2022. At this stage, it's good to point out that anything with a down arrow allows you to download that chart for use and pasting into a Word document or Excel document. Next up on the SASS dashboard is information about biotope ratings. Obviously, this is only provided if, in fact, the SASS practitioner included the ratings when they captured the data. And obviously, we always want to encourage this because it adds to another level of data for interpreting SASS information. These are all color-coded based on the various biotopes that are recorded or rated on the SASS sheet. Ecological category, just to reiterate, it's based on Dallas 2007, and you'll recall it's a way to interpret SASS data, which uses ecoregion level 1, in this case, the southern folded mountains, combined with the broad geomorphological zone, in which case this is the upper catchments, which includes mountain stream, transitional, and upper foothill zones. And again, these are color-coded based on the categories. If other physicochemical data was collected during the SASS assessment, this can be uploaded, and I will be having a separate session on how to upload your SASS data. But essentially, we've chosen the 5 main physicochemical parameters that are generally measured, including conductivity, temperature, pH, and dissolved oxygen. But if other aspects were also measured and were uploaded, all of the chemical data can be downloaded as a CSV. In the case of all charts, when you click on the download, it does ask you the purpose of why you're wanting that graph. This is to allow the FBIS administrators to keep track of what the data is being used for. So we really do encourage you to just record this, and it's not very onerous. We ask you to just, in this case, say training, and I'm just going to say FBIS training session 5, and then we know what that data was used for. It's immediately available for download or putting into your report. The last thing I want to show you here is how you can drill down into a single SASS site visit. I'm going to choose one of my sites, which I use for this, one of my assessments for the SASS accreditation. It opens up the site record for that. And in my instance, because I'm an administrator and both the owner of the data, I can both edit or delete this site. But this is only the owner of the data is able to edit the data. What you see here is obviously a map of the site, together with the date, the person who did the data, whether that person was accredited or not, the source reference of that data, a photograph, and then the various stones and current ratings, as well as the actual data for that site. And additional notes can be added. Again, I will expand on this when we do the training for the SASS data adding session. So that's it for the SASS dashboard. What I would like to do now is leap over to a multi-site dashboard, which looks very similar, except obviously in this case, you don't just have one site, you have multiple sites. So firstly, to help me navigate the system, I'm going to reset to clear all the filters. And then I'm going to select the invertebrate biodiversity module. And I'm also going to select just the FBIS data for the purposes of this demonstration. Okay. So we have a number of records that have come back. And what I'm now going to do is to navigate to a specific area that I'd like to use the lasso to zoom in to a subset of data. Remind you, for lasso, you click on that tab and then you draw a polygon around the data. I'm going to select a large chunk of the Upper Easter River. And I'm going to click Update Search. This then allows the records within this polygon to be returned. You can see there are 41 sites. And by clicking on Site Overview, I can see that there's invertebrate data, but what I'm interested in is the SASS dashboard. So I'm going to open that. Obviously, because there's multiple site assessments and multiple dates, it does take a little bit of time to upload. But while it's finishing up, I'll just show you the source filter criteria are shown here on the right. Again, you've got a map And if we then go down to the SASS assessments, you can see that these are again color-coded by ecological category, and the site codes are provided on the left, and you can see at a glance which sites were in very poor condition versus those that were in very natural conditions. And again, we've got SASS score, number of taxa, and average score per taxa. Next chart, please ignore this. This is a slight hiccup, it's not disappearing. We've got our SASS summary table, which can be downloaded as a CSV. And essentially for each site, we have an average, minimum and maximum SASS score, number of taxa and ASPT, followed by the number of assessments for that particular site, as well as the latest SASS score, the latest number of taxa, and the latest ASPT. And then the date of the latest assessment, which you can drill into if you wish, or you can navigate by clicking on this button, the site code, to go specifically to that site. And this is a nice way to tabulate a lot of information and see at a glance what's happening in the catchment. In this example, we've got two different ecoregions that are presented by the data that our lasso controlled. We've got the southwestern coastal belt upper zone, and we've got the southern folded mountains upper zone. And you can see that there are 4 sites sitting in the southern folded mountains ecoregion, and then the remainder are in the southwestern coastal belt. And again, these are color-coded based on ecological category. Next up is a SASS taxa per biotope, which for all of the sites listed above provides a breakdown of SASS abundance ratings per biotope as well as site, which can be downloaded as a CSV. And then right at the bottom, it also provides the SASS scores of the 3 metrics. And you can scroll along to see all of the data that is available to that site. Then we've got our biotope ratings. Again, the latest assessment is provided here, and our very important metadata. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you for joining us for this tutorial, and see you next week.